right.
Hello.
Let's go. YouTube, where are you?
Here we go.
All right. Good afternoon, folks, and welcome to another edition of Smudcast. This is number 201. Oh boy, the mechanics of time travel in Life is Strange and Ludonarrative harmony. If that's a word salad title, it is. I don't know. I don't think so, but it's Dissecting Games from a gentleman. Let me see his channel. I don't even know how big his channel is. It is the Flick Fix Show. He has 138 subs. This came out 4 years ago. It has 431 views. And this is a 4-minute and 51-second video. It's going to be a short video, so we have other videos to watch today. But this is the one that apparently everyone likes talking about because it's such a great game with great game mechanics, with great storytelling, great voice acting.
And Ludonarrative harmony, apparently.
Lots of
great gameplay, like picking up bottles.
Subtle gameplay, I'll say that. Subtle gameplay.
The
Not even there or something.
Yeah. I think
You think you what?
Oh, sorry. I was thinking that the ludonarrative harmony, I think what they're trying to saying is the term ludonarrative dissonance. I don't know if anyone knows what that is.
Yeah, I know what it is.
I'll explain it anyway. It's when the gameplay and the cutscenes don't match up. So, say, like, I think the example I was told was in Tomb Raider. Lara Croft was kind of unsure of herself in the cutscenes, but then when it actually goes into the scene, she's mowing down armies of people. So what Ludonarrative harmony is claiming is that the cutscenes and the gameplay make sense together. Like, there's nothing in the cutscenes that happens.
Story and gameplay pull on the same string.
Right.
They pull on the same string. That there's nothing happening.
We're talking about narrative per se, and that could involve cutscenes or real-time cutscenes or just moment-to-moment, whatever the storytelling technique is. So it's the disconnect. That's dissonance. So harmony could mean many things, and usually you don't have to say, this is a good story. It works with the gameplay. You don't need a fancy word for that. So he's just playing off ludonarrative dissonance and saying, oh, this is the opposite of that because I like it so much. It's like, that's not an explanation.
I'm glad we finally found someone else who thought the story was amazeballs. The story is absolute amazeballs.
Don't say any of those words that you hear in those games. It's
absolutely 100% wowzers. Like 3 wowzers.
This is what happens when the
now.
French
like, unironically,
think they know how to tell a story about the Americans in Valley Girl speak, California.
Oh, I love how ER described it. It's French people trying to tell a story of American high school girls.
And they got it absolutely right.
Yeah, they're perfect.
They did it absolutely perfectly.
I love when ER said that because it's like half true. And I only say half because I can't bring myself to completely agree with it because I know it is true.
Though again, someone said, "Oh well, if it's real." I don't think the characters act realistic, but in the way that they are portrayed in like how I say it, the interactions are very disjointed, but also realistic at the same time. It's a weird combination. Just because of the type of people it's trying to portray. But even if you accept it as realistic, just because it's realistic doesn't exactly mean it makes for good storytelling.
It doesn't harmonize with the theme and the story you're telling, and it could possibly get in the way of other people connecting.
Just as a short aside, proving that basically mechanics of a game work incredibly well together with the narrative is very difficult subject and usually takes a long time for each game to explain why it works or doesn't work. So I'm very amazed that that person will do it in only 5 minutes.
Amazeballs.
Oh yes, I'm amazed.
Wowzers.
And let's be honest. There's lots of games that have done the rewind mechanic, so it's not just based off time. There's an entire engine called RenPy that has the scroll-up features. If you're telling what is it called? What are those games called? Because they're basically RPG Maker-style games, but they're more like moving novels. You can just scroll up and just go back a few frames on the script, and it'll just rewind the entire script, and you can just choose another option, or if you miss something. It's the same idea. So this mechanic is nothing special per se. All it involves is real-time 3D animation. So you're instead of
graphics.
Yeah, instead of playing forward in the animation loop, you're going the opposite direction. I've seen this.
You turn a 1 to a -1.
Yeah, that's one way of doing it.
Though I'm really disappointed Life is Strange doesn't have a chest bounce in the slider.
Oh, yeah.
Kudos to whoever will get that reference.
A chest.
There is a visual novel that has a chest bounce in a slider.
And
the button that you can make the girls jump.
Oh god, oh no.
That sounds pretty anime. Yeah.
It sounds like an anime game, yeah. Anyway, but this is done before, so Chrono Cross comes to mind. Grand Theft Auto did it. Tomb Raider, amazingly. Also, sorry?
Oh, sorry. Just which Grand Theft Auto and which Tomb Raiders?
I believe it was the first one. This is back in the 90s, so I don't remember the exact. There's a few of them, because after you pass the game, it unlocks this feature. The problem is computers at the time were not locked into hardware, so there was no software controls to frame rate or refresh rate check. The same concept with Quake. Like everyone who goes to Quake cons at the day it's like going to a drag strip. You get your big ass rig that's super powerful at the time. So whatever P100, whatever.
The sounds were similar to a drag strip.
It is, yeah. You bring them in, and because Quake was hardware locked, not software locked, you could run off the basic, the max settings of your rig, whereas opposed to Unreal Engine was actually they locked the software, or rather the frame rate and the refresh rate together, so everyone had a free opportunity to play the game at the same frame rate. So unfortunately, it didn't happen for Quake. So that's why they call Quake and Quake 3 the hardcore games, for the hardcore gamers who like high rates of refresh and frame rates. So yeah, now games are a lot more safe for everyone else.
Yeah, supercomputer it.
Well, almost. Some of the games like Crysis can't quite do it. So you still need a supercomputer to run Crysis from like 15 years ago.
True enough.
Yeah. Anyway,
let's get going.
This is a 5-minute video. We're going to watch some other videos as well, just to keep it fun, but it won't take too long. Here's Jake the Surgeon. If you eat your poo, does it come out as double poo? I would imagine so. Why not? Why wouldn't it?
And you likely get poisoning or something like that.
It comes out the same color the way you came in. You vomit it straight out.
So you're talking about the compound called bilirubinol. Bilirubinol is the oxidation of iron. So whether it's burnt umber or yellow ochre, whether it's liquid or solid, same idea. And yes, there are nutrients, believe it or not, in your poo. But that's,
well, among other things.
Many other things, yes.
That's
not
not
a
how
healthy
you do
thing.
a full transplant, my dude.
Yeah, don't want to do that. Here's like Jake the Surgeon again. I think we got Life is Strange, but someone eating poo and squeezing out double poo. You just said that. Okay, thank you again, Jake. I'm glad.
Very astute.
I have a question. Could we blame Telltale Games for Life is Strange?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, 1,000%.
Well, I prefer blaming the French.
I blame the French more, and then Telltale Games.
Oh, okay.
Look,
yeah,
I think
that works for me.
I think Hitler had the right idea of how you deal with the French.
Oh
definitely.
my god. We're like a battered housewife. They'll just cave to anything at this point. Although I did like The Wolf Among Us, or it's The Wolf Among Us, which was a Telltale. That was a really good one. But anyway,
these are two different companies, but that's fine. Anyway, Joe Crazy. As a Californian, I can say with certainty that the way they talk is hella on point.
It's hella on point.
Oh no.
That's right, Chuck, bro.
Just right.
Hella yes, bro.
No.
sayings, but basically put in those cringe phrases anyway. Like my friends and I speak in memes references. It's quite cringeworthy.
Hella yes, Shaka bra.
It's so funny for me because since English is my second language, all these things are kind of way less cringe for me because I'm like, well, yeah, it's just a different language. I'm kind of distanced from it.
It's like listening to verbal diarrhea. I hate. Like the first time I heard that, because obviously a few times I've heard people say hella in like real life situations, but after Life is Strange, I ended up I heard the word hella, and it's like, no, I hate that word. Stop using that word, please. No,
you shouldn't hate it. It's the name of a goddess. Don't hate that name.
Oh my!
Shut up.
I guess if you want to ruin a word or something, just put it in the hands of a teenage girl, and then all of a sudden, boom, instantly ruined.
Isn't that with most things, though?
Fucking teenage girls. God damn it.
Definitely don't want to do that.
What?
All right, Jake the Surgeon. Glass France. Is that
Glass France?
Is that glass from France, or is that some?
I think you're saying nuke France.
Oh,
yes. I would love to nuke France. I will press the button right now. Along with Canada, please. America, the UK, Australia, Japan, China, Russia.
My only worry about nuking France is that we're a bit close to them.
Yeah, so
I'm nuking everyone. I'm not leaving. I'm going to be very equal opportunity about this. No, everywhere. Actually, no. Maybe New Zealand can keep going then.
New Zealand.
Stevie Morrison is fine.
Australia, burn it. New Zealand, yeah, it's all right. Yeah, it's good.
We have to make sure the hobbits survive.
Fuck Australia, but New Zealand.
They're pretty cool. They have those little giant birds that we're keeping just for that.
In the immortal words of Arnold Schwarzenegger, "You're funny. I'll kill you last."
I lied.
I just reminded myself of the ever rivalry between New Zealand and Australia's football team, the Blacks and what were the other guys? The All Blacks. That's their name. So.
No, it's just we can't not Americanize every single thing, every single issue. The world's America. Yeah, exactly. Dev, you're American, aren't you?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
American hell.
He's Swedish.
Live in American hell.
What? No, I couldn't believe that Dev would survive a day in Sweden. He couldn't take all the lib.
The Zofrats would beat him to death with sticks.
What they'd have?
One of the two. So He'd either die from the flower crowns or...
No, but it's just...
What would they have?
It's a bit of a weird question. I thought it was kind of obvious that Dev was American.
I know, but what would they do with him? Like a pickled herring? Like, oh my god, you haven't had pickled herring yet? What's wrong with you?
Right.
It's like, no, we have beer in America. Like, what?
I can't tell the Canadians from the Americans, so...
Now we have beer.
Well, I don't know. The Americans sound more retarded. The Canadians are a bit more soy. That's how you tell the difference.
I can't disagree with that.
The British are more pompous. The Australians are more criminal. How many people can we profile on one stream?
Boy, you got your pompous license.
Patching it through.
Or you got a license for that potato peeler.
You got your criminal license.
The Scottish are always victims. The Irish, they're just really obsessed with potatoes for some reason. The French,
you got your potato license, do you?
How you tell a French person is that if they're running in the opposite direction and retreating, they're French.
Also, before you profile Switzerland, I don't really have a Swiss accent that much, but I can put a thick one on if you want.
Shut up, ferryman from the land of cheese.
Oh, you got your cheese license?
Yeah, I do.
Makes the finest.
It's called my passport.
There you
go. It is.
Everyone needs a cheese license. Doesn't matter what world you are.
Yes,
cheese license.
We're gonna kill another 30 minutes. We get Smud talking about cheese.
Okay, that's a good point. All right, let's keep going.
Oh, I'll join in on the cheese talk.
I know you would. I would love it, but we gotta keep going. Joe Crazy, yeah, let's keep New Zealand. I heard they like butt stuff. Okay, that's a good reason. I mean, it's not a bad reason. It's nothing wrong with butt stuff. It's up to you. Good to know. Jake the Surgeon. Before humans settled on New Zealand, there were only 2 species of mammals. Really? I don't know if that's a thing, but okay. Every major niche was filled by birds, some of which could be 10 feet tall. Wow. Okay. The niche of what?
Some
Mammals?
say they had living dinosaurs still.
I don't know.
Oh yeah, well they have.
Maybe they had a T-Rex. You never know. You have any evidence that there wasn't any T-Rexes?
Oh.
Didn't think so.
Are marsupials mammals? Like a subsection of it?
Yes.
So I was gonna say that would fill up with the rest of them.
You got it.
They are big gay,
How do you
That's
write marsupials?
and I dare you to prove me
Oh,
wrong.
I see it.
Homosexuality is prevalent in all species of animal.
Yay. Okay. Let's get to our non-homosexual video on Life is Strange and Ludonarrative Harmony.
Well, no, it's about Life is Strange. It's definitely going to be very homosexual.
Oh yeah, no, it's entirely homosexual. What were you thinking?
Apparently not very well.
Smudge, you fucking pleb idiot piece of shit.
I was under the impression it was about heterosexual lesbians because they have to be
Yeah.
extra special.
Yeah, heterosexual lesbians, they call bi girls.
Anyways,
Yeah.
we have a
Time
video.
travel. That's fun. Let's go.
Hello and welcome to Dissecting Games, a little series thing that I'm doing where I talk about my favourite
Welcome
bits
to
of game
Good
design and then try and
Passionate
explain why
I
think
swear
Yeah.
I've heard this voice already in like 50 other YouTube videos.
It's like a Dell voice.
I'm gonna tell you about why I like this.
It's it's
Passionate.
also the
Passionate
Mark
through.
Brown voice from Game Maker's Toolkit,
Oh.
which
Oh my god, it is!
heavily inspired to get Gadelb. And how
Oh
that's
god,
done.
I hate those videos. I hate them with
Yeah.
a passion because of the voice.
I'm gonna talk softly
And-
about this.
Do you know what I hate? The one thing that really fucking ticked me off was one of my tutors in college. So one of my friends was trying to get into game design, and my tutor recommended Game Maker's Toolkit.
No.
Why? It's so shit.
Game
But I wouldn't call
Developers
it shit as-
Essential Lessons Book. Gadelb. That's what it feels
I
like.
wouldn't-
about
Oh, it's.
I wouldn't call it
no.
shit. I just will call it completely and utterly useless.
Speak softly, carry your big soy.
No, I'll call it shit. I'm willing to call it out for what it is.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Gadelb, Game Developers Essentials Book. Lessons.
Game developers retardation.
That's the
Make
channel.
sure
The
to
channel name.
add the most feminism. Don't
Which-
speak harshly, you'll scare off the soy boys.
This time, we're talking about which Star Wars game had the most feminism and the best representation of soy in their game. So,
But I
Some
Some
people
probably
believe you
goes
should
for it.
inject it straight into your veins,
Yeah.
but others say that it's takes
the
on
eyeballs of a
more
bird
of
vessel.
So
takes on a better
I'll get some
appeal.
feminism injected in the
if you-
eyeballs right here.
So the best type of game design is the game you can develop. So the developer should have the same skills or very similar skills as a designer. So the designer's not painting towers in the sky that they're never going to come to pass. So yeah, there's no real book on game design that I can recommend for people aside from learn a tool set, learn what works, and then design.
I think
Now
the
that you
best,
know-
if you're a writer and you want the best thing to write for games is buy one of those books that teaches you how to write a story with multiple sections,
Yeah.
like one where it had branching paths and everything. Because that is one choose your own adventure books, like the
Oh,
art
yeah.
of writing choose your own adventure
Sure,
books.
yeah.
It's kind of the best way to if you're a writer from a writing perspective.
What if you're a designer first and you have the problem of the towers in the sky?
Yeah, you're building.
I don't
these-
have a problem with like the idea of it being a YouTube channel about telling people how to make like video games, but the thing is, just have something valid to say for fuck's sake. Then
Oh,
Game
yeah.
Maker's Toolkit doesn't.
Yep.
I'm trying to think of just an example of one of the most retarded things I've heard them say.
I
don't know,
think
can't
I
of
think
it
my
off my head,
favorite part has to be how he presents it as an absolutely amazing idea. How when you double tap the X button, you make the character jump twice.
This is heteronormative sexual game design.
Oh, YouTuber?
Mark
I'm sorry.
Game Maker's Toolkit. Yeah, he does a series on that.
Okay, I didn't.
I find his Zelda dungeon thing interesting because his qualification of what makes a good Zelda dungeon and what just he never qualifies why it's good and why it's bad. He just says it's good. That way is good. The other way is bad. I'm like, but why though?
But why? Why'd you do that? Why'd you do any of that? And who was the other person that pretty much said that you should never add reloading into your video games? Reloading is like time you couldn't have fun. Doom didn't need reloading. Oh, Halo is just ruining video games because it normalized reloading. The same guy that said you should never have fast travel in your games, even if your world is fucking huge and it's a ball ache to traverse the areas which you've already traversed 60 fucking times.
Yeah, if you don't create an interesting way to get around, then yeah, you need fast travel. And
even if you have an interesting way, depending on how you want to do it, you might want something, might still want to have fast travel.
I mean, more would still have fast travel. You had the mark and recall thing. Just, boop, there you go.
Here is Jake the Surgeon. Every role in the environment from large prey animals to apex predators were filled by birds. And isn't that interesting? That's curious. You have all these flying creatures that are on top of the food chain with gizzards as opposed to teeth, or some who can't even fly. So,
We're getting a nice New Zealand lesson today.
Oh, gigantic! Yeah, who knows what's
Will that be on the
Park
test?
is over there.
That sounds like a fun setting, a whole island set with birds. That's the only type of wildlife that's there.
Yeah, giant spiders. Like, yeah, it's normal. Okay.
Oh no!
It's like I'm in a video game. Wow. Yeah. Oh.
New Zealand's
Avery.
just the PvE zone.
Avery, the reason that the English language is sometimes complicated is because of the French in medieval times and again in the American Bayou. Really? The American Bayou. I did not think of that. Sure, that was Frenchified, same way some parts of...
Bayou?
The Bayou? Am I pronouncing that incorrectly? I apologize.
That's how they pronounce it down there.
Alrighty. This is also found in many colonies in Africa. So whenever they went conquering in Africa and brought their influence over to the West, yes, the language came with it. So lots of heritage there from the French. We even have a few areas of the French still that have land in Canada that is sovereign to them. So, yeah, the French are fun. They're interesting characters.
They're not. Don't lie.
They have
good bread.
Very interesting characters.
They have interesting cuisine. I'll give them all the props to their food.
My favorite thing is their fries. They have great fries.
Fries, they do. Yes, they do.
They're actually pronounced freedom fries.
I'll petition.
All right.
Petition, make them freedom fries.
All right, let's get past 10 seconds. Let's go.
So great. This week I'm going to be looking at Life is Strange, more specifically the rewind mechanic and how its implementation works so well within the game's story. So Life is Strange is an episodic graphic adventure game which revolves around Max Caulfield,
I mean,
a naive young photographer
even
student whose
removed
world
of
is
the story,
chaos.
let's like pause. Even removed of the story, the fucking God damn it. The
animations and characters,
the
and
gameplay
textures.
and the time travel doesn't work at all. It is nonsensical, and I'm pretty sure they were just making up as they went along. Hey, the time travel powers allows you to go through photos. How? What? We don't fucking know.
Really?
We just
wrote a
It
bad
doesn't
song,
even
PD.
come up next. Yeah, it was just drawing the spiral, which is just is a UI element. It connects in with the vortex. I don't think it's particularly super clever.
Anyway, Life is Strange is just nonsensical. There we go.
There we go. Yeah.
Too retarded for words.
It's actually not that complicated an idea when you have a state system based off your engine. So you could actually have all these states stored and you just go back a few frames. So it's not hard to do. I remember playing emulators on my computer. Super Nintendo emulators were one of them. You can do the same thing. You could go ahead and forward and backward based off frame rate or state. So,
but no one's ever done it before, Smudge.
no one.
God, that's
It's
basically
broken new ground.
that's exactly how they did it in the Titanfall 2 level where you time travel. That level is so fucking good. So creative with how it does it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
lie down when she gets the ability to rewind time. From that point on, she must try and stop a catastrophic tornado, solve the case of a missing girl, save multiple lives, uncover conspiracies.
By the way, of the people here who have played the game, why is that tornado? Why does
we don't.
it exist?
Okay, so the tornado, as far as we know, the characters shouldn't know this, but we, the audience, only know that somehow Chloe being alive has caused birds dropping out the sky, whales being washed up, 2 moons, and an eclipse, and a tornado. None of these are connected, or even connected by the death of Chloe. Other than some people say, "Oh, it's because of the time travel powers," but you're still going to find out the time travel powers, even if you don't save Chloe, because it's like, oh, I just dropped my camera, and I know she discovers her time travel powers before she even goes into the toilet, because she drops her camera and she rewinds time, doesn't she?
No, the first instance of her reaching out to Chloe when she's first shot. But it's also not. There's not even some overall thing like, oh, this is magic from the natives or whatever, tied to some sort of spirituality. It just happens.
It just kind of happens. All of a sudden,
Again,
she's walking up a mountain and over her that hill, and she sees a big, gigantic tornado. And then suddenly she's back in her classroom.
So God was so mad about this crap story that he was like, let's
she got
wipe it out.
visions of the tornado before she even started messing with time, which it's not exactly giving much of a cause and effect. Sure, okay, if you want to have a cause and effect, then have, her start seeing the tornado after she saves Chloe's life. That makes you know that it's a direct result, but then how do you infer it's a result through what we're shown at all? Even then, I think you still need to do a lot more to set up the fucking tornado. It's all just nonsense. The game is
So what I
insane.
took from that is we don't fucking know where there's a fucking tornado.
Again, in the middle of the game, they invent split time, time travel timelines through going through photos. They don't explain it; it just happens. Nothing comes of it other than it's a setup for how they get themselves out of the hole they've writ themselves.
The only thing I could possibly understand is the butterfly effect, and there's a logical consequence from saving Chloe's life, causing all these strange phenomenon.
Oh yeah, but the butterfly effect is like, oh, you saved Chloe's life, so therefore she deals drugs to this innocent girl, which then leads her to commit suicide, which then leads her parents to divorce, which means that something else is going to happen. That's the butterfly effect.
The tornado is the result of a build-up.
Like the flap of the wing, an action causing many more reactions down the line, which end up changing things massively.
Yeah, which happens
But
because
just say, yo, butterfly effect, tornado. Wait, how? What? Where? How the fuck did that happen?
Right, so there's no explanation for her powers. There's no explanation as a result of her powers to cause all these other weird things, but that's the assumption we have to make.
And it goes away.
The tornado, it becomes clear that the tornado is a result of her changing the timeline over and over and over and over again, kind of thing, making tears and split realities, all that sort of thing, all those things. That's kind of what the reason is. So for the tornado, it's just a big result, big kind of the effect from all of her messing around with the timeline and reality and everything. So it becomes even funnier when you go through with the game with Max Caulfield, and she's just turning back time to make herself look cool or something. All the while, her making herself look cool might be cool in the moment, but at the end, it's helping to build that gigantic tornado that destroys everybody's lives and the entirety of Arcadia Bay. It's pretty good. It's pretty hilarious, I think.
But they never mention timeline ever in the actual game. They like never bring it up.
There's only the
the
foreshadowing.
timelines is like when they so she goes back in time, and then there's like a new timeline of when Chloe got disabled.
Right, yeah, that's true. The only thing I can remember is the foreshadowing every time she dreams or whatever, she has a nap, that she's standing on a cliff or whatever, and she sees the tornado in the distance. She's always going to that scene, like she knows she's causing it somehow, and then she wakes up. It's always something like that. Like it's just some foreboding thing that's coming, which is fine as a narrative technique.
You have to understand they couldn't mention timelines because they were too busy figuring out how to put another wowzer in there.
I don't.
Wowzer! I love how, like, at the end of the game, they call out absolutely everything in that bizarre dream vision,
like,
whatever that was supposed to be. And then they're like, no, Chloe was the clone. Chloe was wrong. It's like, no. Clone Chloe was absolutely right in the way Max has abused her powers, how Chloe is an absolute piece of shit, not even a good friend.
But isn't Clone Chloe the one in the hospital?
What?
Isn't Clone Chloe the one in...
You meant Clone Max, who was talking some real hot shit.
I'm sorry. Yeah, Clone Max.
Oh.
But even like, how does the time travel and like the timeline splitting conjure up these like memories for her too? I guess maybe you can make up something about her traveling back on it. It's just not clearly explained.
The thing that she uses the abilities, she gets a headache, and then she gets a nosebleed sometimes if you use it too much, but that's only in certain narrative beats. Whereas if you use it all the time to, rewind a conversation, it's no big deal. So they have to give you a story. They do a time travel
within a time travel as well.
Yeah,
so she goes inside a photo twice.
That's fine. I don't care that there's not some scientist guy or there's big hard science fiction to explain it all. She wouldn't be that smart enough.
You don't need science to explain any of this. But if you're going to create a time travel story, for the love of God, make some logical sense of how the fuck it's supposed to work.
Right. The problem, though, is, as I'm trying to say, is that if you need the scientist, you would need this smart guy, you would need the Time Lord to explain how this all works, because she's just a girl. You can't just.
I don't think that could have worked. That the nerd kid, whatever his name, was going in and being like, "Oh, I've seen movies, and like maybe it's this," and give some sort of.
Just to interrupt a little bit, I think you not necessarily would need the nerd guy, but you need to know her actions to be consistent in a way. How she can use the time travel.
Yeah, so she doesn't need to understand how it works, but the way she is using it needs to be consistent. Also, the fact that they keep pointing out how, like puzzles, for instance, require you to teleport. So you go to one place, rewind time. And then, stay in that spot, and you've now moved from one spot to the other. And that is a required way of how you get, for example, behind a door. So you break down a door, it sets off the alarm, you walk onto the other side of the door, you rewind time, you unlock it from the other side. Literally teleportation. And even though they point out in the gameplay and even the story, they don't, like, Max is teleporting around the place 1 billion times, and no one points it out. It's like, hey, Max, you're just kind of jumping around the place. How are you doing that?
You call that ludonarrative dissonance?
That's the one thing I would say that is pretty neat, but that you can do with like superpower stories where they discover their power. You don't need anyone explaining how it works. You can just have the character figure it out themselves, like testing it, just looking what they can do and can't do.
It's kind of what they did with Death Note. The first thing they did was have Light this experiment with Death Note push it to its limits. So that way we know exactly what it's capable of.
Yeah,
what the limits were.
The narrative has to show or tell the audience what the hell this thing is. Like, you can't just have, I can create nuclear bombs like Jubilee from X-Men, like instantly. It's like, that's probably too much. You have to limit that a little bit so we can understand where she's coming from and what she can and can't do. So that's necessary. The best way would have an info dump, because we're talking about time travel. It's very complicated.
Okay, yeah. If it reaches a certain level of complexity, you just need an info dump.
Yeah. So anyway, these are all basic stuff that are not in the story.
Yes.
It's stuff that like someone should have probably explained somewhere. Like she might have had some guy, some librarian or something to talk about, but nope. Max just gets a headache and she has a dream. And that's it.
Why not meet God or something like that?
Something, yeah. Like in the end of Quantum Leap, he meets God or a guy who's like God, and
God just goes to Max as like, "Bitch, please, can you stop fucking with time?
Yeah.
It's been a real headache trying to solve all the issues you've been causing."
No, it's just this incredible figure emerges and goes, "Wow, is this?"
I don't think they need an info dump or anything. If they kind of acknowledged it and discussed it and theorized a little bit, it would have been enough for me to kind of see that it was bouncing around in some sort of logic and not that it just kind of was.
Yeah, again, they don't need to explain it, but there needs to be just a logical sense of, hey, why is this happening over there but not over there? Why have they just invented this new power? How does this power how is it connected to her previous power? Again, how is rewinding time the same as traveling through time and going into your younger body? And what happens if it's a photo if it doesn't have her in it? Ian, what if she goes to a photo before she was born? Does she revert back to a sperm? Or an egg? A fetus? Like a child photo. Oh, God.
Okay, let's keep going. Joe Crazy, come on, Shiny. Chloe is not like other girls. This is true. She is totally not like any other girl in the story. Yeah.
She's a rebel and a punk.
I kind of mentioned that in the and when Mahler and Jay Longbone and the EFAP crew covered Gotham High, and they say, "Oh, she's not like other girls." None of them. And then Jay Longbone comes in with it. None of them are like other girls. Like that's it. That none of them. They always make a character where the girl is not like other girls, quote unquote. That's the archetype.
With Chloe, it's true. Most girls I've met at least have, a functioning brain.
I don't know. What girls have you been meeting?
Well, ones with functioning brains.
Yeah, hopefully.
Well, I've never met a girl with a functioning brain, to be honest.
That's a sexist joke.
Haha.
I get that reference.
Tyler Preston, thank you, sir. YMS, or Your Movie Sucks, and ER both explained why the time travel mechanics is busted beyond belief. It's, it's a hard game to get through, let's just say.
Time travel is really hard.
Not because it's difficult.
No.
It's pain. That's how you define
that whole puzzle
the game.
in the diner. Can you prove to me you have time travel mechanics? It's like, oh, here we go. Anyway,
it's part of the Ludovico technique.
It's the ludonarrative gameplay mechanic. Like, whatever. Sure, okay. Let's go.
Let's keep going.
While trying to kindle a lost friendship. To say there's a lot going on is a bit of an understatement, but the whole game does a pretty decent job of keeping the whole thing coherent, besides a few terrible lines of dialogue.
A pretty decent job.
All the lines of dialogue are shit.
Steps here and there. But what makes the game so good, in my opinion anyway, is the rewind mechanic. A simple idea that gives birth to so many interesting moments and ideas.
God, he is Game Maker's toolkit.
Okay, so when most people think of the rewind mechanic in games, they probably think of Prince of Persia, or maybe a modern racing game, with the mechanic is used as a way of fixing a mistake, allowing the player to go back and try again. Some of the time, Life is Strange does the exact same thing. You start a conversation with someone only to fail completely, so you rewind and try again.
So there are no consequences for your actions. Literally, none at all. You can shoot yourself and you'll be totally fine.
Message coming in.
Not exactly. They don't even call that out. Like she starts having no consequences for her actions. You can have a good story where a character doesn't have any consequences for their actions, and then like they got called out for it. How it turns them into a fucking monster.
I seem to remember the. I don't think it's this scene, but it's leading up to this where you have to go save that girl's life at the roof of the school because she's going to jump or whatever. And your powers just don't. They run out of juice or whatever the heck happened to them. It's like the one time you need it, the one time you have to use your ability, it doesn't work. And you're like, oh, is that because of time? Because the time says you can't stop this girl's fate? Is that the way fate works? Is that like, that's a profound thing to say in a time traveling mechanic game where there's certain things you just can't control, even though you can control little things like what you just talked to with someone, but you can't save this person's life. You're like, that's interesting. Why is that? So that could have been part of the narrative telling us that, hey, some people need to die, or some people have behaviors you can't stop.
Some people need to die. Smudboy 2020.
Yeah.
2021, please.
Well,
Oh,
with
shit,
the
2021.
tornado, but you could get off with the consequences and just let people die to the tornado, and that's the fate that you can't escape.
Wouldn't it have been stunning and brave if they had gone, oh well, fuck this world, let's just be lesbians somewhere else?
That whatever the conditions are, there's a deterministic view of time travel stories that have to be present in some regard. And if that's the way they're going to do it, they have to do it properly. Because if you just have, nope, you ran out of juice. Sorry, you can never go back in time and get more juice. You just can't do it. You're like, why? I control time. Like, what's the problem? I have all the time in the world.
Okay, Max, take a photo. Wait till your juice recharges, and then just go through the photo. Has she not discovered this yet? I can't remember. She probably hasn't discovered it yet. I don't
Yeah.
know.
I know it's before, but like she discovers it
Message
so
coming in.
arbitrarily that
Patching
there's no
through.
reason she can't discover it any other time.
Like, considering she's surrounded by photos all the time, constantly, she's a
accidentally-
photographer.
All right. Here's Adam Wooford. Thank you, sir. Also, they don't set rules for her powers, which you need to do. We always talk about
Yep, we said that.
setting up rules and limitations on stories. And they don't really show how much damage she is causing. Also, the good ending is Max and Chloe, but the town is destroyed, and the bad ending is where Chloe dies. Really? That's the bad
Yeah,
ending?
that is considered the bad ending.
Destroying a
I
town.
consider it the good ending.
Saving everyone's lives.
That's scary.
By the way, Devil, are you playing Hitman 2 to let go of the frustration of having to listen to this video?
Yeah, a little bit.
Because I now wish I had Hitman 2 installed.
I'm also playing something.
Okay, well, I'm
Oh,
not.
well.
I can't multitask, damn it.
Information you've gained to do a better job. And then boom, the game then gives you the choice to use the information you've just learned. Now this might seem a bit too easy, but it's a great way of showing that you, the player, and Max have learned the same piece of information at the same time, creating
Wow.
a brilliant bit of
Wait,
anti-ludonarrative dissonance.
What?
Wow, okay. Sure.
hold on a minute.
You learn information at the same time as the cat. Yes?
Sure.
Is that anything special?
Isn't that how
Hey.
puzzles work in games?
Hey, a character in the story told the main character their name, and because you're playing the main character, you learn the name of the character at the exact same time as the character you're playing. That means it's anti-ludicrous narrative, or whatever the fuck his term is.
Narrative dissonance.
God,
Solid Jesus.
Ludicrous
What is it
speed.
recently with
Message
just
coming in.
big
Patching it through.
dumb? There seems to be like constant spread, like an outbreak of big dumb.
Trying to get it's just the eternal man's strive for sounding smart to get pussy, you know.
There are two things which is infinite: the universe and human stupidity.
Very profound.
Here's Barry Bluebird. Katana Zero, which is a game, does a much better job at using time powers than Life is Strange. I haven't tried it, but I will.
Pick anything with time travel. Endgame. Endgame has better time travel than Life is Strange, and that has terrible time travel because they don't set it up. They don't explain the rules of the fucking time travel, but yet they're more consistent than Life is Strange.
There's just an ass pull in general.
Here is Alex Halo. ReZero is better. That game is just a knockoff. Well, so ReZero, we talk about regression or dying in a video game and coming back to your previous save point. and ReZero has the character aware of all of his experience while he was alive and going back to his original spawn point, I guess you could say. So it's a similar concept of time travel, but you're just enacting the concept of a video game, which is spawn points or save points. So one way of not using time travel to explain going back in time. Yes. Okay.
No, wait.
Wasn't there a TV? I'm very sorry, but wasn't there a TV show that ER pointed out that pretty much like they stole how their time travel works from, because they can also rewind time and it also hurts them and gives them a nosebleed?
I feel like that's a common trope, but
there are a few stories with time travel I remember from like TV movies, but I don't know about a TV show.
I don't know. It looked like some kind of TV show. Never mind. We'll just keep going.
Okay. The game story and the mechanic coexist, instead of the mechanic being this separate and detached entity from the narrative.
That's coexistence. You know, coexistence is two things existing. Isn't it two things existing at the same time next to each other?
How is it so amazing that you learn information at the same time as the protagonist? How is this amazing?
Can I just
Please,
repeat that?
tell me.
His definition of ludonarrative harmony was that gameplay and story coexist. I'm like, that's literally every game.
oh, quality.
Well, you know
That's a meaningless sentence. God.
I'm still not over the fact he said that you learn something at the exact same time as the protagonist. Like, what?
It really is Mark Brown. He just says stuff that's just either it's completely obvious to anybody who's ever seen a game or anything,
This is amazing.
or it just doesn't make sense.
You ever seen a game where you learn something at the exact same time as the protagonist? Okay, I've got a question. What if this is your second run through, or you've seen someone else do a walkthrough? Are you learning at the exact same time as the protagonist then? Oh no, you're not.
Ludonarrative harmony destroyed.
This is a bad game if you play it twice. I don't know.
From a 11 out of 10 to a 0 out of 10 in the second playthrough.
Here is Avery. Thank you.
Constantly throughout the game, every choice and every conversation is all.
Let me just go back to Avery here. There was a game called Time Shift from 2007. Really? Okay. I'm sure there's many games out there that have done time travel before. I just don't know much about them. So unless there's a story around that you wanted to point out, I'm not sure what we could say about that. Anyway, thank you.
I guess it means like I guess what he's trying to refer to is that the main game mechanic, I guess you could say, it's barely a game. The whole time travel thing is tied into the narrative, and it's not like I don't know. It's kind of like, you know, it's not one of those things where it's like in Final Fantasy or something where you have like a phoenix down, and you can bring people back to life,
right.
But for some reason, if they die in cutscene, they can't bring them back to life. Something like that. It's one. I guess it's one of those things. It's not one of those.
Even if he is saying that. It still doesn't work with the narrative, because the time travel powers are fucking like the way they work in the
change
gameplay
on a whim
is, well, yeah, not only can it change on a whim, it's like disjointed with what's happening.
There are several stories or video games that have time travel as part of the narrative but not part of the gameplay. I think the one that I know the most is Soul Reaver or Legacy of Kain series, where everything's tied together at the end as a result of time travel, not because of there's a mechanic. So there are stories that tell time travel properly without breaking lore and all these other logical problems that pop up.
Glib is asking a very important question. What happens if you drink water then reverse time? Does the water come out of the throat?
But also, I know an example of...
I now have another question. If you go take a piss and reverse time, what happens to the piss?
Stays out because it's part of her
Also,
all
as
the
another...
carrying stays the same.
Is it going to be like homing piss? It's just got to find your way to its bladder?
Well, the idea would be
for you.
that you have a mental state which is independent of the time travel. So the body is doing everything else because it exists, and the mind is wherever. And
no, but the body itself is moving independently from when you're rewinding time.
Right.
So it's not just the mind; it's the body and the mind,
Yeah,
which
right.
have been separated from time as you're reversing it.
So-
Actually, an easier way to fix a lot of the problems with the time travel would just be to actually make the character rewind through time, along with the actual time traveling.
I think
Because
that's
then you wouldn't have so many of these problems. So if you, for example, you have a drink, you walk over there, you rewind time. The way the game currently works is that now you've teleported and the water in the drink has now magically disappeared. But if you actually had it so when you reverse time, it reversed your actions, you would walk back, you'd go back to the desk, you'd undrink your drink and place it down, and that would make more sense.
It's a polite way of saying spit.
That would be a very, I wouldn't say tactile, but very visceral form of explanation and capacity for, I guess, magic at that point, because now you're going into the minutia of rewinding and fast forwarding and this and that. So you're explaining a detail, and that detail, unfortunately, needs to have more exposition to make it believable. So if you're talking about having a reverse series of experiences while having an independent mind, so imagine having your body reverse sensing something, so walking. So you're walking backwards, and you're every feeling is reversed. So you're just like, all right, I can feel the weight jump from my foot instead of landing on the ground. So I'm reversing all these forces. So your body would be experiencing everything in reverse. It wouldn't be painful, just like walking normally. It just the sensations would be opposite. So that is what happens in the game, I believe. Though we see Chloe do things backwards again. Not in much detail, though. So she is not actually physically commenting on these experiences. So we can safely say she's not going, because that would be very disconcerting when you start, eating or walking or breathing or whatever. It's like, oh, that's weird. So she either is going through that and her body's like, whoa, I'm getting a nosebleed now. What just happened? Or her brain or her mind is completely independent and can't feel a thing and can't sense anything when she does this. So
there are certain elements of the gameplay where you can actually fast forward time if you've already experienced it, like during dialogue. That's not exactly the gameplay lining up with the actual story, is it? Mm-hmm.
They never mention it in the story, but
I know, but it's some. I guess it's more of something you withhold a suspension of disbelief for. But at the exact same time, if you wanted to say that the gameplay lines up with the actual narrative itself, it's like, no, she's actively re-forwarding time. And that's not like a canonical power.
Well, one of the ideas that Stephen Hawking came up with was the time's arrow. This thing that could be directed in any which direction because time is its own thing, space is its own thing, and that we don't even know what the flow of time is. We can only experience it what we are experiencing right now, which is relative to our sense of gravity and homeostasis and all these other things that we can perceive. So even if this is a thing that, we can go back in time, would we even have the capacity to process that? And thankfully, Chloe does get a nosebleed. Like something happens to her body by abusing the power too much.
Max.
You mean Max? Yeah.
Sorry, Max.
I'm sorry. The characters are so bland. You can honestly mix them up very easily.
She is. She's the selfie girl. Yeah, I know. The Polaroid selfie girl. So. It would require much more hard sci-fi to wrap our brains around, and there's no way they're going to do that with this story. There's no way they're going to do it with this game mechanic. So, yeah, sadly. Anyway, Adam Woodford, thank you. Titanfall 2 had better time traveling ability and explained better. You were jumping from the present to the past to get past obstacles and puzzles. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that was what I was mentioning before. I wanted to say it's almost a reverse case where it's more there for gameplay reason than story reason, but they still managed to pull it off. It makes sense, and it's just there for one level to be an incredibly memorable and really fun level. And after the level is done, the device breaks and you don't have time travel anymore.
Okay.
So it's just basically how it works is you can press one button and jump between two different time states, and so there are certain obstacle sections where you have to jump in between time states mid-air and stuff like that. So it's incredibly fun.
So it's a
very
one-off.
creative.
It's a one-off.
Yeah, it's a one-off. It's a one level, and then it's gone.
I gotcha. Kind of reminds me was that scene in, was it Rebels in Star Wars? That one time they brought back what's her name, and then it's gone.
Mhm.
It's never a thing. Never
Sorry,
happened.
you cut out there. What did you say?
Just referring to Rebels when they brought back your favorite character. There,
Ahsoka.
Ahsoka. There you go.
Again, well, people say, oh, they use it to save. It's like, Ahsoka was already canonically alive, as you already you see her at the end of the conflict, but it was just trying to explain like why she was alive at this, and the time travel, like while it doesn't cause issues, it's more just what's the fucking point? Because it doesn't add anything. Again, it's not like one of the things where it's like, oh, how'd you go back in why don't you go back in time and stop the Clone Wars or Palpatine's Rising? It's something you can't really do, and you can't access the time travel again. Like it's not like a time machine like you have a DeLorean, or I don't know, the time machine where you can go back in time and stop Thanos. Again, it's just more pointless than anything.
Kind of the Force in a weird way, which is another version of people adding to the Force powers that doesn't seem possible. And it's so confusing.
Hey, the Force can time travel. Deal with it.
Force can apparently make flat images move on a surface. Oh my god, it's not magic, Filoni. I mean, it's magic. It's not that type of magic. But anyway.
Magic.
Yeah. All right. We're almost halfway done. This is great. We're doing well.
It's just a pass away from being reset. You can always see through the consequences of your actions and then change your mind. The game gives you a lot of freedom with how you choose to interact with it.
Well, yeah, the freedom to do everything.
So combine this with the
Almost
game
no
doing
freedom.
such a great job of presenting you
It's the perfect fantasy for teenage girls, as they never have to deal with a responsibility for anything.
This is just save scumming the game for girls. Because I do.
Look, let's be honest. We all have those cheeky save files that we go back and undo certain options, but you don't really want to make it part of your game, like your narrative.
It was a mistake. It was a feature.
Yeah.
Tied into the game, it's the whole core concept of going back and trying everything.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's like in XCOM. What was the Alien Future sequel one that was shit? It's like when your soldiers die, it resets to the last save. It's like no. It should be my option to reset to the last save. Don't look. We all know we do it, but at the exact same time, you shouldn't be encouraging me. It's very bad.
Oh, that was Chimera Squad, right? The latest one?
Chimera Squad, yeah.
Okay.
God, it was. It added some nice gameplay
It's
things,
a
but at the
mixed
exact same
bag,
time, it was
yeah.
such a huge step in the wrong direction.
It's like 2 steps forward, 2 steps back. It's like, it's kind of fun. But no, that's not good. There's all these weird elements they threw in, which were good. And narrative ones, I was like, that's bad art. That's bad storytelling. Why are these characters random? And how do they know each other? It's all this random stuff. But anyway.
you with such morally grey choices, and it leaves you in a place where you're constantly second guessing every decision, instead of every decision being a
And even if you settle on a decision, there is no lasting consequences for any of this. Again, lying to the principal or telling him the truth, Nathan attacks you anyway, no matter what you do. So there's no consequences from it. I'm trying to think of another one. Consequences of even what's her face committing suicide. Nothing comes of that. You find Nathan's phone either way, and she almost just gets cast off to the side in the story because she goes, and the only thing that changes is that you go to the hospital level because she's in the hospital for some reason.
The other one, if you steal the handicap fund in it, and the only consequence is actually when you go to a completely different timeline where supposedly you didn't even take that handicap fund. turns out they didn't have ramps for Chloe in a wheelchair. But that doesn't make sense at all because it was a completely different timeline.
Chloe couldn't have stolen the money because she was disabled.
Oh yeah.
Hey, what's the consequences to killing Chloe or not killing her before you rewind time? Literally fucking nothing. There was no reason behind that choice. And there is no choice in this game. It is like a Telltale game to that extent. At least Mass Effect, like it had a promise of, oh, you either kill or save the Rachni. And it was more down to how they handled it in Mass Effect 3, is that like that was the major problem. Like it didn't really matter if your choice with the Rachni mattered, or like if you did save them or killed them, they clone them either way. Nothing changes, or just changes the value. But even if there is a promise, they just don't.
Yes, one of hundreds of things they dropped or changed or didn't care about. So yeah, can't do it too hard. Got to ship the game, launch it on time, yada yada.
Definitive, the mechanic gives you the freedom to change your mind, which in turn makes the choices all the more difficult. The
No, it
game
doesn't.
continues to excel. By
If you
pushing the idea.
if you can undo your mistakes, what makes the choice difficult?
This was exactly my point.
You try
Please
them all.
tell me.
One you like.
Oh, I can undo any of my mistakes at any point. Why would I be worried about making a mistake if I can just undo it? Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to kill this person with a gun. Well, guess I just rewind time. Seriously.
Rewind. You can't live with the consequence of Chloe shooting that dog. You have to go back. Like they're so bad.
Even further, by embracing the mechanic within the story, the two never feel separate from each other, and it's clear to see that the game
No, none of they do. Shut the fuck up.
designed with both in mind. My personal highlight of this is the scene in which Max has to explain and
Okay, for gameplay to be how the time travel works to be designed, I don't think they designed it at all. Like they kept making things up on the spot. You kidding me?
also prove time rewind powers to Chloe. Not only is this a nice little scene where we learn more about the characters and their relationship, but we also see how
We don't fucking learn
the
anything!
ability is to the narrative. You
Well,
can't
and
separate.
even if you did learn anything, I don't want to learn more about them.
Well, you learn a bunch of stuff, a bunch of nobody NPCs.
Yeah, this is the equivalent of telling a character, "Hey, I could hit a home run." Like, it doesn't matter what you're gonna do. If you're just saying you're gonna do something, like all these tricks are like, "What's in my pocket? What's gonna happen next?"
What's in my pocket, precious?
Yeah, it doesn't really matter. The narrative, you can address the narrative in exactly the same way without time travel powers. So if it's just I have an ability, what is it? I can do 20 push-ups right now. It's like, great, do it, done. Wow.
I love that Chloe doesn't even know what's in her pockets. Like, it's not even like, how does she not know that she has her keys?
And the
I
ring.
don't know, whatever. Okay, if you have to go, like every day, you get in your lock your door, you go in your car, you know what's on your key ring because you have to have your key ring on you at all times. And she's like, "Oh, I don't even know what frog I have on my key ring. How many keys do I have? I don't fucking know." I mean, sometimes, okay, the money, sure, because like you don't always know how much money you have, but some of the details. Like, you at least know what's in your fucking... God, I'm sorry, I'm letting it go. There's more bigger problems to fry.
Well, she doesn't know at the beginning, and then she does know later on when you actually tell her what's in her pockets. So I think she's lying.
She's in her character.
You get it wrong, she doesn't count the money. She's like, nope, I don't know how I have that in there.
Also, I would like to point out another non-sentence, as well, basically meaningless sentence by him and saying, this shows that... referencing gameplay and story, this shows that both was kept in mind. I'm like, yeah, that's usually how making a game works. It just sounds like, to me, hearing sentences like these, it's just very much like Game Maker's Toolkit. They sound nice, but when you think about them, it's like, well, it means nothing.
This is a plot point that you need to use the game mechanic to progress. It's like, yeah, so is every game that has a mechanic that has a plot point.
Hey, you need to kill someone to continue in the level? Oh, story and gameplay working in synchronous.
One.
Okay,
And this is
just
like
also in the narrative of the game, what is even the point of this? What is the point? You already know how your powers work. They're not exactly like developing anything new. Us, the audience, aren't learning anything new. It's all just showing it to Chloe. And it's all just a massive waste of time. What do we even get from the fucking bottle scene? Nothing. It's just collect 12 bottles. It doesn't matter at all.
The only thing I can
It's just
understand,
fucking about. So much of this game is just fucking about.
right? The character of Max wants to befriend Chloe and prove to her, listen, I have this thing. Now I need to prove it to my friend because I trust my friend, and that's kind of Max's bag. She's kind of a loner. She doesn't really have too many friends. No one really likes her because of whatever reasons. And she confides in this person for personal reasons. That's totally fine. So I can understand that from a character perspective, that we need to, address this part of the story properly. But there's really no point to telling people, hey, I can control time. What are they going to do? They're going to laugh at you and until you prove it to them. But so what? Like, what's that going to get you in the narrative?
Literally, all they can do is just say, I can control time, and then just move on from there.
there's
And then there are many things. You could prove that you have time travel to Chloe in like a second. You don't need to describe all these events. God, it just takes so fucking long as well, because you have to remember every single little itty bitty tiny event to the damn right tiniest detail. Like, oh, if you say the cop runs outside because there's an emergency, instead of the cop ran outside and his car runs off without him. Oh no, Chloe doesn't believe you. It's like, it's close enough. What the fuck? Oh, the jukebox changes, but you didn't realize it was a fucking cockroach that changed it. Oh, Joyce gets upset at someone, but you have to know exactly what they're upset at. God damn it. You can tell I have a pure burning hatred for this game. It is terrible.
No, you don't. You're just lying. Yeah, I know you love it.
So much because you love it.
Here's Joe Crazy. Actually, Max has a simp. Right? Yeah, she does.
Oh, she does. She does.
The nice guy.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Warren. I remember when they make discount Warren in Before the Storm, and he like almost sexually assaults what's her face?
Yeah, I remember that. They got the sip
Chloe?
right in that one.
I just remembered that Mark Brown in one of his videos praised the sitting down mechanic of this game.
You just sit down in the. Oh my god! You sit down in the forest. It's revolutionary. This place fits. This place fits Chloe. She's a steampunk.
You know how they had
It's so tranquil.
They have a genre called the walking simulator? I guess this is a sitting down simulator. This is sitting down mechanic. Awesome. That's why I bought this game, so I can have characters sit down.
She's a steampunk.
Awesome sauce.
Wow, there's amazeballs.
Hey, speak.
idea I would be being used more, although I'm not sure how well it would work in other games. But I would love to see Max Payne try and explain the fact that time slows down whenever he jumps.
What?
My other...
Why don't you explain to us in this game how she's able to turn back time?
That's adrenaline.
I haven't played games like that. I played games like those, but I haven't played that game specifically. Even like, isn't it not slowing down time? It's more like their reaction is faster, so it allows you to like react much easier, which is kind of like the just idea of slowing down time.
Right.
Like
It's
from
the
your
same
perspective, you're not actually rewinding time, or in reality slowing down time. It's
Right.
more just that, you know, you have more of a chance to aim your weapon, or
Yeah.
in GTA, if you play Franklin, you can slow down time from your perspective to allow you to better control your car. It's not, again, in real life.
Yeah, it's the same with...
Adrenaline makes you kind of remember each detail faster, so it seems like time is going slower because your reaction
Yes.
is so much higher, and so that's just a mechanic of that.
Right.
And it's also in GTA. I think Franklin's ability is to slow down time to drive his car better. I can't remember what Trevor's is, but I think the other guy. I think he can slow down time for his gun, can't he?
I don't recall, but that's
I
still
can't remember his
going
name, but
in
something
time,
like that.
not reversing time at all.
No,
So
yeah. It's the same
It's not
concept.
time travel or time manipulation.
Yeah, they wanted to give the John Woo feeling in Max Payne, so they wanted to slow it down and showcase what you can do in this game, dodging bullets and firing more accurately. They did that in Red Dead, they did it in Mass Effect 2. I mean, all these games started doing the slow-mo mechanic for whatever reason. It's not too hard to wrap our brain around.
He started just, it's like, oh, I want to make Life is Strange look better, so I'm going to randomly beat down some other game to make my game look better. Fucking fantastic, dude. Hey, here's a not problem in another game.
It's so bloody great is that it's not always there. Throughout the first 2 episodes, the player has been given this freedom to make mistakes, say the wrong thing and choose the wrong option, always knowing full well they can simply rewind and
It's not
try
actually
again.
freedom. It's more like you
Then,
can
bam,
make any
the
option.
climactic moment of episode 2 begins and the powers are gone.
The freedom would be
Suddenly on a roof
you're able
with
to
a
make it in the first
suicidal
place.
Girl in the
Oh, convenient. The powers just stop working. Oh no.
nobody
Why does it stop working? Okay, again, why doesn't Max just, instead of holding time, let her jump, run through the building, and just rewind time? Because she doesn't need to hold the time.
Oh yes, she
Why
should
does
do
she
that
need to
because then,
specifically hold the time?
then the girl lands on her and kills them both.
When he says it gives you the freedom, it means that really what that really means is a nice way of saying there's no consequences to whatever you choose, unless you choose to accept those consequences.
Also, couldn't you technically reload a save to achieve the same effect?
It's the same thing as reloading and saving, yeah.
most people can choose not to reload a save and actually go with the consequences of what they have. But it's the core mechanic to save scum in this. Sure, you can go through and never rewind to see something else, but it's kind of defeating its own point. So you're sort of set up to have no consequences, which is a setup to not really feel anything. Because the consequences are what brings the meaning, what little meaning you can get out of these choose your own adventure, since the options are so limited. It's dumb. It's just for drama's sake. There's no logic behind it except the rule of cool, and it undercuts itself so much because of it.
Yeah, if you woke up the next morning and you could suddenly rewind time by 20 seconds, you would be trying to control that thing for the rest of your known existence to see how the hell this works, why it works the way it does, how do you improve it, how do you increase your stamina, yada yada. So this wouldn't be like, hey, I'm a girl, I'm going to run around and help my friend. Why can't I help my friend? Oh, she's going to fall. Like, you would have figured this out reasonably. Not say, hey, school, I'm a freaking Time Lord, okay? I got better things to worry about than art school right now, okay? Saving people's lives would be kind of cool. This would be a good example. So there's like the realization that, oh yeah, I have this amazing superpower I might want to invest in and spend some time to figure out, as opposed to just having a weird dramatic story where people die and there's nothing you can do about it despite having a superpower. Like, we haven't heard that story before.
Chloe to like convince her to actually test out her power. She didn't do it on her own first.
It's like I'm Superman. I can't save everyone. I'm not strong enough. I'm not fast enough. It's like, oh no, we've never heard this story before. Oh.
Okay.
And out of nowhere, your safety net is gone. Every choice is vital, and the game feels so much more tense and nerve-wracking because your freedom to fail is gone. And that's why the execution of this mechanic is so brilliant, because it knows when to take away your freedom, your safety net. There is no...
So usually the limit on the time travel mechanic is like, what, 20 seconds, a minute? So how does that mean she can hold time for so long? Because, like, it's still quite... Oh, again, I'll tell you why. Like, in the actual gameplay itself, it's extremely limited. You can't rewind time forever. You can only rewind it to a certain point. But then, when she can't rewind it anymore, she's like, I got a headache, I've got a migraine for some reason, and then she stops time traveling, and that is setting some kind of limit. But then they just kind of say, oh, fuck the limit, she just can hold time now, okay, and doesn't really hurt, but she has a nosebleed and it just stops working on the spot randomly, very conveniently, let's say.
Can I once again point out how incredibly strangely he phrased this? It's like, that's why this mechanic is so brilliant. It knows when to take it away. I'm like, wait, what? What?
It knows to just arbitrarily stop working, even though it contradicted the gameplay earlier to do for story thing. But no, they totally work in synchronous.
Knows that letting her jump off the building and then rewinding for a new outcome would completely undercut the emotional sense of this. So they took it away, but they didn't realize that it would matter for the rest of the story as well.
Hey, Max, why can't you just hold time and pause it for, like, however long it took you to run up the stairs? Just pause time. Hey, Mr. Jefferson is, like, trying to murder me. Why don't I just
murder him?
I don't know. Freeze time and, I don't know, stick a knife in his throat. Doesn't she get one of her hands free? She could just freeze time. Oh, look, I just stabbed you with something. Or whatever.
Why does she need her hands to manipulate time, though? Like, what's controlling it? Because she was tied up and she couldn't use it for whatever reason.
No, she could still use it even though she was tied up. But she keeps raising her hand like she can. Like, it is her hand controlling it.
Oh, God.
And I think in this scene, you actually try to talk to the girl. You don't actually go out and grab her. It's like
you have to. It depends on your interactions, and you have to learn about certain things in her room. So you actually have to show that you care. If you don't show that you care, she's just going to kill herself no matter what. So, for example, you have to know that she's got a very good relationship with her father. You have to know about, I don't know, I can't remember all the things, but I know the father's one of them, or maybe her religion. But the thing is, you should really let what's her face die. Again, I can't remember her name. Do you know why you should let her die? Because then you get her bunny. And
oh yeah, you do.
Look,
you get her bunny.
I want that bunny. I'll admit. I'll let her die if I can keep the bunny. I don't care if she lives. I get the bunny.
I love the idea of Shiny maliciously letting someone die just to get their...
It's like, I don't really care about you, and you have a nice rabbit. Can I keep your rabbit if you die? Oh, good.
The vicious bunny killer strikes again.
Please just keep, jump off the building just a little faster. I've got to... Wait. Oh, she's called Kate. I completely forget the name of these characters. I remember Max and Chloe, and that's it. And I even get those two mixed up.
Like, and a lot of... Sometimes in these situations, they won't even wait to try to talk the person down. They will just pull them to safety first before discussing it with them. And something like this, she knows her intent to jump is very stalwart because she watches her do it before she rewinds time. So why does she wait? Why does she not just stop time or unpause time? That's what I'm trying to say. Right when she's right next to her, pull her away. Then discuss it with her while it's not on the edge. I guess it wouldn't be as dramatic, but
I love that. When Devil was playing it, he kept rewinding it and letting it just die. Splat.
The only way to do it.
All right, we got 50 seconds. Then we're going to the next video. Yay!
Someone pasted porn all over me on the internet, and now I have to commit suicide because bullying.
Oh.
No turning back from this point on. The character either lives or dies on the choices that you make.
And nothing comes of it. Isn't that great? One of the most important decisions you could possibly make in a game, and nothing comes of it. Fantastic. Excellent game design. 10 out of 10.
It's not even that great of a handling of the actual issue they're trying to discuss.
If there was
if you have a friend which committed suicide, well, it's just your fault. You didn't have time traveling powers.
Right? How lovely.
Message coming in.
Yeah, here's Joe Crazy. Shiny, do a barrel roll. Oh, thanks.
That's what I was laughing at. No, well, the comment says, do a flip!
In that moment. So, in summary, the rewind mechanic itself is nothing spectacular, but when it's so carefully and brilliantly entwined with the game's narrative,
Why is the simp
creates
touching?
this
So he admits it's nothing special, but oh my god, it's done so
Nothing
well.
special. But they intertwine it with the story in such a perfect way. It's like, no, they don't. Don't lie to my face.
He just showed us a scene
Well,
where they take it away.
He basically just said it's nothing special, but it's so special.
It's nothing special, but it's special.
I'm playing my feelings, but yes, no, this is actually great.
This
Usually-
motherfucker thinks he's getting on my time travel.
Usually when you have a complimentary thing like steak and salad or whatever you want to do with your food analogy there, it's like, yeah, this is made better because this thing is after it or comes after your meal or whatever. But you're not saying the steak is any good or the salad's any good. You're just saying they're good together. They're not elevated. Okay. They're just better. Yeah, but how? Like, tell us what chemical combination, what sensory experience, what is the thing that time travel allows you to do very well, and the fact that it's gone in this one scene makes it better. Like, I want to know what that means, because I'm sure there's plenty of times in games like Chrono Trigger is one of my favorite all-time Super Nintendo games, where time travel is the constant theme of the story, and sometimes you can't time travel. Someone steals the key to activate the gates, or steals the time machine, the wings of time, so you can't travel. So you have to, I have to go get it now. That's very important, or we're stranded in like 25 billion BC or whatever. So that's good. That's a conflict for you to overcome. In this one, the thing you do, the button doesn't work anymore. So you can't do it anymore. You're like, oh, how do I get it back? We don't know. How does it work? We have no idea. You just can't use it too much, too quickly. Like, oh, so I guess that girl has to die. It's like, yeah. Oh, that sucks. Out of my hands. Nothing I could do. It's drama. The whole point of that scene was drama. And this guy loves it. You're like, okay, you can love drama. You can love the fact that they take away your toys. I'm trying to think of like Half-Life 2. They take away all your guns, and what do they give you? This weird other gun, which manipulates gravity. Like, oh, that's interesting. I didn't know I wanted that. It's awesome now. Now there's a whole gameplay mechanic of manipulating objects and launching them at people and whatever. So that would be like taking away the salad and replacing it with like strawberry cheesecake. You're like, whoa, I wasn't expecting that for my next course.
This is amazing.
Exactly.
I don't want a cheesecake, damn it.
Yeah. So you have to explain why the mechanic works well, and we didn't really show us that, and why it's even better when they take it away from you and replace it with nothing. That's like me taking away the salad and replacing it with nothing. And you're going, well, that sucks. Now I have nothing to play with, or nothing to eat.
I need to eat that rabbit food anyway.
The rabbit food. The furry, friendly rabbit.
Can we be honest, though? Again, as much as I criticize Telltale all day, Kenny is a much better character than anything in Life is Strange. Except maybe security guy.
Security guy.
Base security guy. I can't remember his name now.
The stepdad?
Stepdouche. Yes, that's it.
That's his name.
Stepdouche. I can't even remember his fucking name, but he's like, unironically one of the best characters, and they ruin him in Life is Strange 2.
He actually has dimension and reason, and like, doesn't he apologize for treating Chloe a certain way at some point?
Yeah, and then Chloe is like the whole problem in the relationship. David is actually
Oh, you remembered it.
Fantastic.
Oh,
like legit. The only reason he even slaps her out of outrage, and he regrets it almost instantly as well. Like, he does it out of outrage because Chloe keeps pushing him.
Yeah.
And in the story, they keep presenting David as wrong. What the fuck? Though I admit that he's a bit retarded in thinking, hey, look, I'm going to bully the bullied kid. Except for that's more due to the narrative being... fuck kid. God damn it.
Doesn't he come to get Max out of the basement?
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, so then he has
Um,
a whole ass hero moment.
Well,
Minister X says a base David should be played by Steven Seagal.
well,
my God.
can't wait. As long as he made some bigot sandwiches after that, I think he'd be perfect. But of course, not every game can be perfect, except for
Steven Seagal isn't redneck enough. Whatever the fuck the voice is supposed to be.
Anyway, let's go on to the next video because I think we're done here, and actually watch some Steven Seagal, his greatest hits, his best fight scenes.
Oh,
God, no.
Let's go.
Steven Seagal, fake Aikido man frame. He somehow pushed the guy. The guy flips around and hit the. So he pushes him. He hits the post. He turns around, goes to kick Steven Seagal. He pushes him again, and he somehow turned 360 degrees, 180, and he hits the post again.
Do you
Face
want to rewind
first.
it, Shiny? I know it's so
Seagal
funny.
punches teleport people. Okay, this is known.
He does a spin kick, and all of a sudden his head's hitting the pole. You're like, what? Where did that come from?
Instead of the rotation gun, this is the rotation punch. You punch someone and it changes their axis by 90 degrees.
Well, I like how the Italians like,
God,
oh,
this film looks shit, I'll be
so
honest. I've never
entertaining.
seen it. I don't know what film it is, but Steven Seagal seems like a shit action hero.
It
He was
looks
also like-
beautifully shit. It's just it's spicy shit. I love how slow the action is too.
Did they just rewind the stab so he's pulling out, but then they've rewinded it so it looks like he stabs him again? That is terrible editing.
Oh, I
Why
thought that,
in the editing? Why did they need him to like stab him again? What was so crucial about that moment that they needed him to stab him twice?
3 more seconds on the reel to turn it into their boss. And be like, here you go. I fucking did it. You wanted this 3 minutes? It's exactly 3 minutes. I'll rewind some of this footage. Just look at how slow he's moving his arms.
Okay, he has. What was it like?
Check his little hips. Oh my god.
Like you would be in a lot more visible pain if that was cutting through your hand. If your hand, if it somehow even cut through the bone entirely, like your hand was made out of jelly. I mean, obviously, probably because it is in this case, it's the prosthetic.
Oh, I can't.
But it's so disjointed where this guy just looks like he's, I don't know, suffered a tiny cut, like someone's like sliced a little bit of his hand. That his entire hand has been cut by, I can't remember what it's called. Like it was, what are those things called?
What years was Steven Seagal like the height? It seems very 90s.
Yeah, late 80s, early 90s, yeah, around there. But that's with all the superheroes, not the superheroes, all the action hero people like Schwarzenegger, Jean-Claude Van Damme. Who else was there?
Yeah, but Arnold Schwarzenegger was actually, fucking good.
Well, yeah, he was ripped as hell. So put him in anything, he's gonna do amazing stuff.
You've also got like the amazing accent, which, I mean, Arnold Schwarzenegger could just read.
Yeah, it was him and
anything
Stallone.
to me, and it'll be the best thing.
It was him and Stallone, sort of not neck and neck, but just doing like those weird '80s flicks, like Cobra. I was like, what the hell is that? Just this guy.
This is
with a
how
gun.
great his voice is. I would pay Arnold Schwarzenegger to read the entirety of The Last Jedi in the novelization version. So he just reads the novel. I would have a whale of a time.
It's time for
listening
the
to
Jedi
him.
to die.
Yes.
And then we go out for
Get
schnapps.
this happen.
Luke turns around maniacally.
I have died before.
I
I
have
think
died
it's-
before.
Steven Seagal has this dough round face that makes this so hilarious. When he doesn't have a good serious face. He's looking on there, and I'm like, oh yeah, you just came out of high school. He's always the serious face, but it doesn't look good.
we can all agree Arnold Schwarzenegger is just perfection.
They fly now. They fly now.
From my view, the Jedi are evil.
No. You need to say it in the full context. Like, oh, they fly now. They fly now. They fly now.
What is that over
The second
there?
one's like a question.
It's a bad place. Oh. That'd be good. That'd be good.
Here's Fran Mataraki. My favorite band of all time is the Flock of Seagulls. Oh. That's completely out of context. I have no idea.
Now it's seeing Arnold Schwarzenegger in like a purple wig. So it's just Arnold Schwarzenegger as Admiral Holdo.
Hope is like the sun.
Hope is like the sun.
Hope is like the sun. Somehow.
Driving
Use
me
it like a
closer. I
bat.
want to punch you with my gun. I'm worried you're going to get copyright stricken for this.
Yeah, I know. It's okay. I could always cut it out. It's no big deal.
He didn't even do anything.
That guy didn't do anything. He just
Fuck you in particular.
grabs his neck and pushes him.
You may have not fucking done anything, but I'm just going to throw you in the trash.
Oh dear.
From
Message coming in.
whatever it was.
Patching it through.
That was
I know. I
amazing.
just want to rewatch John Tron's Arnold. No, sorry, not Arnold. Steven Seagal video.
Yeah,
Right? I was thinking of that.
where he shows interviews with Steven Seagal. It's just so boring.
Oh.
Forget the past.
It's like
You need to be have to.
Yeah.
the entire interview, and he's like incredibly awkward at the same time, and then like you can tell that he's just absolutely full of shit.
Yeah.
Like, oh god.
Here's American 3D. Seagal, the American Bud Spencer with zero charisma.
I also like the time he met Putin.
Oh, fuck.
That was, I don't know.
Yeah, that's also the John Tron video.
That one was just like, what is he doing? I have family from Russia. They're from, was it Kiev or I don't know, some province. I can't remember where exactly.
So it's supposed to be from Under Siege. The next scene. I've never seen the film.
Yeah,
but
Tommy Lee Jones. So yeah,
it looks like a submarine. I guess.
yeah, one of the better Steven Seagal movies, I guess. I don't know. They're all blur. They're all very similar.
I don't.
Oh no, the knife fight.
Oh no.
What?
They're not even trying to slice each other. They're just like, oh, we're just gonna hit our knives together.
They're not even getting close to each other in some of them.
God,
are
these
they- why are
cuts
they
are so
reverse-
bad.
They're reverse gripping. Why do they hold it the other way and try to actually thrust? What are they doing?
No, they gotta do the backwards dip. Look how cool it is. He's doing the fucking crane with his hand right there in that freeze frame.
It's like, why are you putting your hand up? Like, just use the. Don't do that. It's sharp.
Steven Seagal. That's Ray's preferred method. I mean, it's the best method.
You know, before JonTron, I'd never even heard of Steven Seagal.
I
Really?
knew of his existence.
You had no idea?
No, I never even heard the
Wow,
name.
Really?
you guys
You get the best.
missed.
I'd never even heard of any of his films.
You guys. I
Casiota's
mean,
Arnold Schwarzenegger. That's pretty.
yeah,
cool.
no, Schwarzenegger, Stallone, Van Damme, Seagal. There's a bunch of other guys like Chuck Norris was one as well. All
also good.
kinds of crazy movies from the 70s and 80s, 80s mostly, and some of the 90s that whatever was left over. That's where we got Terminator 2 and a few other good, really nice movies. But all the bad, crazy B flicks that had bigger budgets in the 80s were just nuts, like Delta Force. And I said Cobra before. Like, they're just weird, crazy flicks. But if you love action, it was great.
I love
like
the
how you-
cling sound
Yeah.
effects.
It sounds like they're fencing or
the
something.
cling sounds more like something you'd hear for swords, not
Yeah.
knives. Because a sword is going to vibrate a lot more than a knife is because of the longer length.
They're waving their hands like they're siblings fighting, and they're just waiting for mom to come break it up. They don't actually want to hurt each other, so they're just kind of flailing.
Yeah. I mean, it actually looks rather similar to sibling fights with me and my siblings, knife and everything.
Yeah, knife and everything.
I just
I
find
like
it
the
funny
joke fights where you just like slap each other.
Yeah, they're slicing. They're not
We slap
stabbing.
each other with knives.
It's all slicing like a punch, but with a knife. You're like, what are you doing? Just stab the guy with a straight jab. No, we have to hide it. We have to hold it reverse grip, guys. It's the only way to do it. Okay.
No. It's not honorable to just stab them. You have to punch them with your fist while holding a knife.
It's a stabbing.
So this guy's been cut up. I haven't paid attention, but Tommy Lee Jones has been sliced up all over the place. So he's still standing for some reason.
Oh, it is Tommy Lee Jones. I was wondering who it was.
Yeah.
I recognized him, but he was too young.
Yeah, I know. He's got hair.
Wow.
What the fuck are they doing?
I don't know. What was that? Try spinning on your ass. That's a good trick.
Jacket. It's very fancy.
Oh, the action, it's so tense.
Oh, I got cut.
Why
Bit the knife.
He let
go. He let
Okay,
go.
no, okay. If you're putting a knife into someone's mouth, okay, the way he's holding
Slash.
it, they're not going to be stopping the knife.
It's so strong,
what you do is you keep pushing, and you're going to cut his mouth open. Like seriously, he's gonna look like the Joker.
No, his teeth are so strong. His jaw grip is so great, so massive.
His jaw grip was so great, he ripped it out of his hands.
Because
I need to watch this movie now.
The teeth have such a great surface friction ratio between a stainless steel piece of metal and ivory, not ivory, but bone flatness of. I guess he has a perfect bite. I have no idea.
Steven Seagal is like one of those anime characters that can stop and crush a blade with his mouth.
And those are steak knives.
Oh wait, they are.
They're not like flexible swords.
Message coming in.
Solid.
Oh.
Patching it through.
Has anybody ever told you you're a pain in the ass?
All the time.
I want to imagine that's not even acting.
You know they're rolling.
Say lines.
Steven, what are you doing here? Get out of! What are you doing?
The movie set.
From the interviews I've seen of him, he does sound exactly like that. Well, in the films they don't have to of him, but otherwise he sounds exactly the same.
All the editing is just so they cut out
The anime character. God.
Here's Joe Crazy. Seagal was just too hardcore for the Expendables. I realized that. Yeah, he was never in those films. Why wasn't he?
Because they wouldn't need anybody else. They just have to send Seagal in, and he'll just everybody.
Oh yeah, that's true.
His fake martial art.
He'll cat slap everything out of the universe. You can't have that.
I love the Morning Nonsense stream where we just ripped apart Aikido, which is his part.
Yeah.
It's like they don't even do anything. He just grabs his, like, even the footage of Seagal himself doing Aikido, he just grabs the wrist and the guy just falls down and flips backwards.
Yeah,
doesn't even do anything.
It is so fake.
It's like, there's just they fake so much, have it like getting taken down. That gun
Burn
at all.
Why did he walk closer to him?
So, Smudge, do you remember Mass Effect Andromeda?
Oh no! Don't bring that up.
Remember the scene where you just steal the Turian's gun? Like the legit, like he has no grip on it. You just pick it out of his hands. That's what it's reminding me of.
The Carnifex, yeah. Oh god.
I like the scenes where the guns are reversed.
Sorry, my face is too tired to remember that scene.
That whole scenario was just dumb.
I like the glitch that made guns reverse in cutscenes.
Oh god, with what's her name? PB.
Yeah.
That was so stupid. That was after the fix. That was after the
Wolf's video taking the the piss out of Andromeda. It was such a good laugh.
Skipped a bunch.
It's just slap fights.
Yeah.
You know when you do, like, I suppose, maybe it's something more, like, from my understanding, but have you ever seen, like, animation that is, like, very floaty and, like, not quite, like, it's very off?
When they're running really fast or something like that, it doesn't like there's any connection with the ground very well. Enough friction to propel someone.
Yeah.
It's not the same, because obviously this is, like, actual people moving rather than shitty animation. But the way it's, like, off. That's what I'm trying to get at. Like, it's disjointed and disconnected. Like, it doesn't...
The one thing I can say, it's extremely obvious that they are not trying to hit the body of the other person. They're just trying to hit their fingers or arms or hands, just predetermined. Like, that's the point where hands will meet, stuff like that.
Instead of actually blocking the knife, they keep going to hit the knife. Or like when they have the sticks. They kept going to hit the sticks rather than anyone actually, trying to hit each other.
Also, I think Seagal's leaning back. Like, he's leaning back to protect his face as he's reaching out ahead of himself.
You would never do that.
You'd never do it any type of martial art. You kind of notice that weird off-balance stance, too, that makes it look so much more fake. Which makes it look like...
Basically, from my experience, as soon as your opponent starts leaning back, you basically push forward and make him fall over. That's what you do.
Just nothing was happening. It's like he misjudged his distance, just started throwing punches, and Steven's like, nothing. I'm just going to stand here now. What was? Let me just rewind that. That was confusing.
No, don't rewind it. That means we have to watch it for longer.
He's just throwing punches in the air. There's some other guy.
He's a knife.
Intimidated by Seagal.
How? Steven Seagal can only fight people that have terrible grip on their weapons. I'm not kidding.
I think all his opponents have been lobotomized.
If they have
that guy seems to not fight back at all.
If they have any kind of grip, he's fucked.
No, but seriously, he just took the knife out of that guy's hands and the guy just stands still and Steven Seagal starts punching him. And he keeps standing still.
Maybe he's so fast that he just couldn't react. Maybe we're seeing things like maybe he has time travel powers and he's slowing down time. Maybe it's adrenaline. You know. You
well,
see,
that's how
it's
works.
Cinematography based narrative. I can't remember the fucking name of the other thing, but I was going to type cinematography into it. Something I don't know. I was going to make shit up, but I'm sad. I lack the creativity to make up the bullshit we saw in the last video.
Ludo's
cinematography. It's
harmony.
This is how I figured it out. This is how Aikido works. It trains you to become so fast that human eye can perceive you with your quickness. So it looks like you're doing nothing, but in fact you're destroying your enemy.
No,
oh my god, that's totally right.
You can give lobotomies from across the room just by looking at them, and that's how you can do it.
Yeah, Aikido is not fast.
He was
guys.
so paralyzed with the
retardation.
Or rather confusion. One good thing I just found out is that a lot of Steven Seagal movies are available free if you have Amazon Prime. So that's pretty cool.
Oh, they're free if you have Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
So it's not. So it's not free then. It's not free.
You don't have to buy them. So you
have to pay a subscription service. It's not free.
There's other movies on there you have to actually pay and then have the subscription service.
Well, it's just some of them are just not included with the subscription service.
Yeah, these are included.
I fuck you and die. Fuck you and die.
What was that?
Anything else on the docket?
The dialogue, wow.
The new motto of this, fuck you and die.
Doesn't fool around. Got things to do. Like mourn the death of his wife.
How does his wife die in these movies? Damn.
Oh. All right, we got one more video to go through. This is only 30 seconds.
Most beautiful thing.
The beauty, the whole point of 2020 was this video.
It's all been coming to this.
If I need your body, I'll fuck it. Why do you come? Welcome. In 2077, what makes someone a criminal? Getting caught. In 19, you can become.
I want to watch this again. I'm sorry.
That was great.
If I need your body, I'll fuck it. Dick. Why do you come? Welcome. In 2077, what makes someone a criminal? Getting caught. In 19, you can become.
Oh my god.
Anything else to cover?
Become.
I don't want the fun to end.
No, that was perfect. I think Keanu just saying crude things amongst the
Out
backdrop
of context.
of techno. Yeah, with no context is great. It's like that's all you need.
Why do you fall?
But the thing is,
come?
now the thumbnail for this stream is going to be, why do you...
I think that is a lovely thumbnail. What great clickbait.
Why do you come? Why do you come?
Become. Yeah.
Have they fixed that game yet? Is it time to buy it? I have to wait another 2 years or so? Like, what's the?
I haven't played it. I heard they're gonna drop something pretty new.
Really?
But I haven't kept up with it.
Oh yeah, they said February was the month to the big patch is coming out or whatever.
Let me go look at my Steam homepage real quick. Look at the live news on the Cyberpunk. It is.
Anyway, that was under 2 hours. I think we did pretty good. So thank you everyone for.
No, but now the fun's gonna end.
Well, we got to get back to our normal lives and.
No, I don't.
I gotta go to sleep.
We've had COVID for the last year. What lives do we possibly have?
That's right.
Drop truth bombs.
Well, I have a shred of self-worth, so I still have a life.
Alrighty, there we go. See, Shiny.
Why don't you brag about it?
Apparently, I
It's the self-worth.
have a lot of Steven Seagal movies to watch, so yeah, that'd be good.
Oh yeah.
We got to watch some Steven Seagal movies. That's a good point.
It's so awesome.
So thanks guys for tuning in. Keep the suggestions coming. I am going through about 3 dozen videos from the suggestions section. I think I've flagged about 15 of them, and I've got 2 dozen more to go through. So keep them coming. I'm adding them to the Discord voting sections.
I think the Smudcast is a very good example of why democracy doesn't work.
Oh,
I love democracy.
I love democracy.
I love democracy. I vote for a vote of no confidence in Chancellor Valorum immediately.
Arnold Schwarzenegger needs to play every single character in Star Wars now. All of them. Every single one. No, actually, no. This is the only time I'm going to say this. I would never remove Demeter Morrison for any role. But I want to see what Arnold Schwarzenegger would be like as a clone.
From my point of view, the Jedi are evil.
Can I fight the war for you? Actually, I can. Just I want to. I better think so.
If you're not with me, then you're my enemy.
Try spinning. That's a good trick.
Oh god, just imagine the scene. Hello there. Oh no, how do you...
Yeah.
How would...
I can't do that.
General Kenobi.
Starfighter.
This is getting out of hand.
All right, folks. Thanks for tuning in. Keep the suggestions coming, and we'll talk to you real soon tomorrow.